What if everything you think you know about yourself is just a story your mind is telling you? From the moment you wake up, your mind spins a web of thoughts, pulling from the past, projecting into the future, and creating endless stories about what's happening in your life. It convinces you that you need certain things to be happy, that you are incomplete, or that you have to control everything around you. The mind's stories can be so convincing that you start to see the world through its lens, distorting your perception. You react to life not as it is, but as your mind interprets it, often based on past experiences and collective beliefs of society. This keeps you stuck in patterns that don't serve you, repeating the same thoughts and behaviors, all while believing that this is just who you are. This voice in your head can become your harshest critic, turning even simple situations into sources of anxiety or self-doubt. For many, it's like living with an internal bully that constantly drains your energy, undermines your confidence, and fills your life with unnecessary stress. The saddest part? This relentless voice is a major source of misery, unhappiness, and even physical illness. Yet we often accept it as part of who we are. But what if this isn't the real you? What if the mind, in its attempt to protect and guide you, has actually obscured your true nature? We mistake the mental chatter and conditioned patterns for our true self. In this state, we lose touch with the deeper awareness that simply observes without judgment. The more we identify with the mind, the more we drift away from the peaceful, unchanging essence within us. This is the veil of illusion, where we forget that we are not our thoughts, but the awareness that notices these thoughts. The real you is the one who observes the mind's activity, the quiet presence that exists beneath all the noise. Reconnecting with our true nature requires seeing through this delusion, recognizing that the mind is a tool, not the master, and that our real self lies beyond the mental noise. This identification with the mind and the feeling of being lost, disconnected, or incomplete comes from one simple truth. We've forgotten our connection to the divine. The verse, "And be not like those who forgot Allah, so He made them forget themselves. They are the defiantly disobedient," from the Quran, 59:19, points to this very reality. It speaks of the deep connection between remembering God and knowing ourselves. When we lose touch with that source, we lose touch with who we are. It's easy to get caught up in the demands of life, chasing success, approval, or distractions that pull us away from the core of our being. In that chase, we often forget the deeper connection to something greater. This forgetfulness doesn't just make us feel disconnected from God, it makes us feel disconnected from ourselves. Without that anchor, we can start to believe the stories our mind tells us, stories of lack, fear, and separation. The truth is, our sense of self and our sense of connectedness to God are intertwined. When we remember God, we are reminded of the bigger picture, of our purpose, and the peace that comes from knowing we're part of something greater. This is not about strict rules or distant rituals. It's about feeling that oneness, that connection to something immeasurable and indestructible as part of our true nature. Forgetting that connection, as the verse says, leads to an illusion of separation, making us feel fragmented, fearful, and isolated. But when we turn back, when we remember God, we also begin to remember who we truly are, complete, whole, and connected. This remembrance is a return to peace, to knowing that no matter what happens in life, we are not alone. It's the essence of feeling alive, fulfilled, and truly present. We all experience fleeting moments of profound peace when the relentless chatter of the mind momentarily falls silent. For some, it might occur in the midst of nature, like being on the open sea. For others, it could be during a moment of intense focus or even in a state of deep meditation. These glimpses reveal a deeper state of connectedness, showing us that a more profound peace is possible. In these quiet moments, you're not just experiencing temporary relief from mental noise. You're touching a deeper aspect of your being. This state of peace is a reflection of your true nature, an intrinsic connection to something greater than yourself. It is during these intervals of mental stillness that you reconnect with a fundamental sense of unity and wholeness that lies beyond the mind's constant narratives. However, these moments of peace are not merely transient experiences. They are windows into a more enduring state of connectedness. By learning to cultivate this state of inner stillness and move beyond the dominance of the mind, we can transform these fleeting glimpses into a permanent state of being. Many people think that peace is something reserved for the afterlife. They reach the end and realize that they were never truly present the whole time, and this is an unfortunate way to live. There's a saying, die before you die. This means to die to the ego, to the false self that is made up of the mind's endless stories. This journey is not about adding something new to your life, but rather removing the layers of noise, judgment, cravings, and fear that the mind creates. The death of the false self doesn't mean that we become passive or that we abandon life, ambitions, or purpose. On the contrary, it opens the door to a deeper flow in life, where everything we truly need comes to us effortlessly. In the state of chasing, we're constantly striving, grasping for things that feel just out of reach, believing that if we acquire enough success or validation, we'll finally be at peace. But when we shift our focus from external pursuits to our inner connection with God, we make space for something far greater, the ultimate source of everything we seek. When we trust in God and live in alignment with that higher truth, all of our needs are provided for, often in ways we could never have imagined. We no longer have to force or struggle for things because God, in His greatness, opens the way for us. In fact, when we are aligned with the divine, we act with more clarity, purpose, and effectiveness. Our actions come from a place of inspiration and abundance, rather than from fear, lack, or desperation. We become magnetic to opportunities, relationships, and successes because we are no longer chasing them. They are drawn to us. This shift is about moving from a mindset of scarcity to one of trust and surrender. When we worship the external, we become enslaved to it, always fearing we don't have enough or that we need to control everything to feel safe. But when we worship God, we open ourselves to His limitless provision. God is great, and in His greatness, everything is possible. The more we trust in that, the more we experience the fullness of life. Wake up to this reality now, or you may one day look back and wonder where all the time went, because you were asleep, chasing the things that never truly mattered. The time to reconnect with your true self is now, and in doing so, you'll discover that everything you've been seeking is already yours.